All right, let's get right into it. We all talk about changing our lives, right? We set goals, we promise we'll have more discipline. But what if I told you the secret isn't about trying harder? What if it's about, well, completely rewiring who you actually are? We're going to look at a totally different way to think about making a real change. And I mean, have you ever really wanted to just vanish? You know that fantasy? Packing a single bag, walking away from your entire life, and just showing up somewhere else as a brand new person. Sounds like something straight out of a movie, doesn't it? Well, it turns out this isn't just for characters on the run from the law. The actual practical steps to changing your identity are surprisingly straightforward. People have literally posted guides on how to do it. The method is almost like a recipe. It's kind of wild. It all starts with getting the death certificate of someone your age who died young. You use that to get their birth certificate. Then, with a birth certificate and a piece of mail, you can get a driver's license. And from there, a new social security number. The point is, creating a whole new identity on paper, it's shockingly possible. But let's be real for a second. For most of us, we're not trying to escape the law. The person we really want to escape is ourselves. Or, the version of ourselves from yesterday. Our habits, our patterns. Now that is a much trickier disappearing act. So to really wrap our heads around how this works, we need a little help from philosophy. There's this thought experiment called the ship of Theseus. Imagine a famous ship, and over the years, every single plank of wood is replaced, one by one. The question is it still the same ship? This idea is the perfect metaphor for what we're talking about, gradual but total transformation. And that's what this is all about. We're going to get into the real way to change your identity, not by faking documents, but by replacing the old planks of who you are, one tiny piece at a time. Just think about a really common struggle, like overeating. You know you want to change. You wake up, you tell yourself, today's the day. You might even have a perfect plan. But then, life happens, stress hits, and you find yourself right back where you started. Why on earth is it so hard? Well, here's the secret. It's not a moral failing. It's a biological one. See, your brain has a prime directive, and it's not to make you happy or successful. Its number one job is to keep things predictable. Because to your brain, predictable means safe. So any change, even a good one, feels like a threat. So this is how pretty much all of us try to do it. We start from the outside and work our way in. We focus on the outcome, the appearance, like I want to lose 10 pounds. Then we focus on the process, the dieting, the exercise, and we just hope that all that action will eventually change who we are on the inside. But we're doing it completely backwards. And why is it backwards? Because of your brain's most important rule: do not, under any circumstances, violate the story it tells about you. So if your internal story is, I'm the kind of person who eats for comfort, then every time you try to diet, you are directly attacking that story, and your brain will fight you tooth and nail to protect its narrative. So let's look at this protection program in action. It's like this silent saboteur that's always running in the background, just waiting to unravel our best intentions. Okay, so on the left, you've got the usual approach. The goal is, I'm going to stop eating junk food. The method? Just good old-fashioned willpower. But look at the problem on the right. That goal goes against your identity as someone who eats for comfort. So the moment you get stressed, your willpower just vanishes and your brain defaults right back to the predictable story. Boom, system failure. Okay, so if the outside-in method is pretty much designed to fail, what's the alternative? Well, you have to completely flip the entire process on its head. Let's look at that same diagram again, but this time, let's follow the arrows in the way that actually works. Real, lasting change starts from the inside. It begins by first deciding on a new identity, a new story about yourself. You don't focus on the result. You focus on becoming a different kind of person. So here's the shift, and it's absolutely critical. The old goal was all about the outcome, lose 20 pounds. The new focus is about identity. I am becoming the type of person who moves every day. Can you feel the difference? One is a finish line. The other is just a way of being. And that is the absolute key. In the beginning, you have to completely forget about the results. You're not trying to lose weight. You're not trying to run a marathon. You are simply trying to become the kind of person who can do those things. The whole goal is to build the new identity. The results, they'll just be a byproduct. So how in the world do you actually do that? How do you build a new identity out of thin air? Well, you don't do it with affirmations or just wishful thinking. You have to do it with proof. It's a beautifully simple two-step process. First, you just decide the type of person you want to be. And be specific. I'm a writer. I am a healthy person. I am an early riser. Step 2, you prove it to yourself with actions that are so small, so unbelievably easy that you literally cannot fail. Let's go back to our overeating example. The old goal was negative, right? Stop eating junk food. The new identity is positive and aspirational. I am a healthy person who nourishes my body. Now look at the proof. These aren't huge, painful changes. They're tiny wins. Add 1 vegetable to your lunch. Drink a glass of water. Walk for 5 minutes. I mean, they're almost laughably easy, and that's the whole point. And here's the best way to think about it. Every single time you do one of these tiny actions, you are casting a vote for your new identity. 1 5-minute walk doesn't make you a healthy person. Of course not. But what about 100 of them? The evidence starts to pile up, and your brain has no choice but to start updating its story about who you are. And this is why it's so powerful. It's not just psychological. You can't just think your way into a new identity, but you can act your way into one. Every small action you take literally changes your brain chemistry. It builds the new neural pathways that make that identity feel real and normal and predictable. Your behavior rewires your brain. So this really brings it all together, doesn't it? The whole process of change isn't really about what you do. It's about who you're in the process of becoming. And that brings us right back to our ship. You don't become a new person overnight in some dramatic transformation. You become new by replacing one old plank, one old habit, one old belief with a new one small vote at a time. And then, over time, without you even really noticing, you look back and realize you're an entirely new ship. So I'll just leave you with this. Stop asking yourself what you want to achieve. It's the wrong question. It points you toward a temporary finish line. Instead, ask a much deeper, a much more powerful question. Who do you want to become? And what's one tiny, incredibly small vote you can cast for that person today?